natural gas. 1383 requires new rules and regulations to achieve a 50% reduction in organic waste disposal by 2020, a 75% reduction by 2025, and actions to make sure 20% of currently disposed edible food is redirected to Californians in need. Enforcement begins once the law takes effect on January 1st, 2022. Achieving these targets demands a new approach and substantial new investments to restructure the waste management system of the world's fifth largest economy. CalRecycle began rulemaking immediately after the law's passage in 2016. Jurisdictions should start planning now to meet the law's requirements.
1383 will affect every resident and every business in the state of California. CalRecycle is here to help local governments understand and implement this new program.
Start planning now to connect large food waste generators with your local food recovery organizations to help feed hungry people where you live. Start planning now to expand organic waste collection to all homes and businesses in your area and increase your local capacity to recycle this material. Start planning now for rate changes to fund these efforts, new ordinances for mandatory recycling and enforcement, and changes to existing franchise agreements or hauler permit.
Some of this is new and some of it requires more of what you've already been doing, but all of it requires planning now to make sure programs are in place by January 1, 2022.
Recycling organic waste is an essential part of the state strategy and one of the most cost-effective ways every Californian can reduce their own greenhouse gas footprint. Together, California will create a more sustainable future, combat climate change, feed more Californians, and improve the health of our people and our planet. CalRecycle is your committed partner in this effort. Get in touch with us to learn more about available support and resources to help you succeed. And talk to your staff about strategies for the next steps for 1383 implementation.
6:09 p.m. Now we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Commissioner Caraveo.
Please stand. Face the flag. Right over your heart. Please begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now we have the roll call. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairperson Smith,
Present.
Vice Chairperson Alshanable,
Present.
Commissioner Ortiz is absent for the moment, Commissioner Caraveo,
Present.
and Commissioner Richard is absent.
Okay. Oral communications. This is the time for the public to address the Planning Commission on items not on the public hearing portion of the agenda. After obtaining permission to proceed by the presiding officer, speakers should first state their full name and address for the record. However, it's not required. The speaker shall limit their address to 3 minutes. All remarks shall be to the Planning Commission as a body and not to any particular commissioner. Any public comments that are discriminatory, inflammatory, or otherwise not protected speech will not be considered, consented to, or otherwise adopted by the Planning Commission in its deliberations and findings. As a courtesy to others, please silence cell phones and other electronic devices. The Planning Commission strives to treat all participants with civility, and we ask that you do the same. Please keep remarks to 3 minutes. Is there anyone that would like to do or have oral communications? Okay. Seeing no one, I will close oral communications and we'll move on. Planning Commission and Airport Zoning Commission consent calendar. There are no items. Recess Airport Zoning Commission. There are no items. Planning Commission consent calendar. There are no items. Continued public hearings. We have no items. New public hearing. Conditional use permit 2022 CU01 wireless telecommunications facility. Now is the time and place to open the public hearing to consider conditional use permit 2022 CU01. Senior Planner Maria Maharick will present the staff report.
Good evening, Commissioners. I am presenting, as you have stated, conditional use permit 2022 CU01. It's a request to permit a wireless telecommunication facility at an existing self-storage facility. It's a modification, removal, and installation of new antennas for a facility from AT&T that already exists at the site. This is the subject site. It's located at 14107 Crenshaw Boulevard within the M1 Limited Industrial Zone. The site is developed with a self-storage facility, and it is considered a co-location site as there are additional wireless carriers on this same site, one of which is the applicant, which is AT&T. There are a number of modifications and removal of antennas and installation of antennas that are being proposed, one of which is over the larger one is a modification of an existing antenna, and they will be adding new antennas on mounts in that one area. It's the one closer to the street off of Crenshaw Boulevard. Down to the areas that are north and south of the facility, they are removing the existing antennas in those locations, and they're remounting them or placing new antennas over to the west side of the building. And this is a few simulations of the wall that they are proposing, and over towards the end at the west is the wall that they are proposing on both ends for the new antennas on the west walls. This aerial view shows you a little bit better of what is being proposed. As I mentioned, the site is developed with a self-storage facility. There is a multifamily residential building directly west of this location. The yellow squares are the locations of the new antennas, which are on the roof. And the red lines are the proposed screens that they are supposedly going to put on this location. What staff is recommending is that the FRP screen be placed all along the western wall or rooftop of this building. And that is to allow and I don't have that, sorry. That is to allow the residents some stealthing from view of this facility, because without it, and you can see that on this actual photo here, you can see all those windows, bedrooms, bathrooms, could be living rooms, I don't know. But if they don't put the screening all the way across that western wall, that's the view that they're going to see. So staff would like to see it done in this manner. So it stealths it more, it has a better view from those residents at that multifamily residential building. So with that, staff does recommend that the Planning Commission adopt the resolution 2022-08, which approves 2022 CU01 on the condition that the applicant modify the proposal to extend the screen on the entirety of that wall as I illustrated. The PC resolution has that illustration within it as well, and it's this one, showing precisely how it needs to be accomplished. And with that, I conclude my staff report.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Does the Planning Commission have any questions for staff? This is the time for questions of the staff by the Planning Commissioners.
I do, if you may, through the chair. Is the applicant aware of the request of the planning department?
They are, and the applicant is, the representative is here if you have questions.
Okay,
Yes, and they are aware of our request as staff.
thank you.
Yes, question through the chair. What's the comparison of the elevation of the rooftop of the facility to the apartment complex?
The building is approximately 32 feet itself, just the building where the self-storage facility is. The apartment building, I believe, is just slightly lower, but with the walls extend up another 10 feet, so it makes the self-storage facility a little bit higher. And it's just that if you're looking at those windows, you can see directly at that wall to the west.
Is the applicant present and do they wish to speak? You have to speak, come up to the podium.
Hi, my name is Ashley Holohan. I'm representing AT&T in this matter. We have been made aware of the proposal to make sure that that wall extends all the way around, thus making it no aesthetic issue. But yeah, we're here to answer any questions, and we're amenable to the proposal.
If I may ask a question, did you look at putting the equipment and also the screen further back onto the roof so that it's kind of steps back and it's not as visible to the residents?
Gotcha. Well, I think the reason why we're not doing that is literally because in order for the signal to get out, it has to be as close to the parapet wall or to that wall as possible. Also, I mean, I kind of think that if it's towards the edge and it's kind of a smooth line, that actually, I think aesthetically it looks more pleasing. But also because the signal has to get out, that's kind of the best bet for that, is to get as close to that edge of that roof as possible and make it look flush.
Yeah, if you do it further back, you would have
It's
to
harder
raise
for,
it also.
right. So, yeah, exactly. So if we go further in, we'd have to go higher up.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
I had another question for the applicant.
Okay.
I want to know if there was a reasoning for relocating them to the rear instead of leaving them where they were.
I believe these antennas are like a little bit larger. So the reason for that is to accommodate for that and making sure that it looks, without disrupting the entire aesthetic. We decided to move them on that side of the building and then angle our antennas to where they're, dispersing the signal where they needed to go.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the commission on this issue? Okay, seeing no one. Mr. McLean, are there any documents to place into the administrative record?
No.
Such as late communication?
Nothing.
Thank you. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any final comments on the item or questions from staff?
I don't have the report on me. Does it state like what type of material we want that screening to be, or
It's to match, doesn't it? To match the
The
existing
FRP screen
Okay.
needs to match the existing color and of the building.
and texture.
Okay.
And texture, yes,
Okay.
and texture.
yeah, then that's acceptable for me. Yeah.
And
That's all
the-
my questions.
Oh, sorry, one question also to staff. Did, I'm assuming the applicant or the residents were noticed?
They were noticed.
Okay. And can you remind me, does the notice go to the renters if they're renting, or does it only go
The
to the owners?
notice only goes to property owners.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
Okay,
thank you.
anything else? Okay. Do any of my, I'm sorry. Now, I formally close the public hearing on these items and call on my fellow commissioners for a vote on Resolution 2022-08, approving conditional use permit application 2022 CU01 with the modifications as recommended by planning staff. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded. Will the secretary please call for the vote?
Okay. Vice Chairperson Alshanadle,
Yes.
Commissioner Caraveo,
Yes.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Yes,
Chairperson Smith.
Yes.
The item is approved 4-0 with modification.
Thank you. Next item is conditional use permit 2022 CU06, beer and wine at an existing restaurant, DA Point Lounge. Now is the time and place to open the public hearing to consider conditional use permit 2022 CU06. Senior Planner Chris Palmer will present the staff report. Mr. Palmer?
Thank you very much. Conditional use permit 2022 CU06 is a request to permit the sale of beer and wine for on-site consumption, which is a type 41 through the ABC license division of the state within a proposed restaurant. The applicant is requesting approval to provide beer and wine service to customers in conjunction with the purchase of food for on-site consumption. The Point Lounge is a full-service restaurant specializing in African cuisine. Along with the many varieties of specialized dishes, the restaurant also features a pool table and other table games and an in-house DJ playing Afro beats, giving it the lounge connotation. The sale of beer and wine is intended to be ancillary and complementary to the restaurant. The restaurant is located at 14115 Crenshaw Boulevard, which is actually adjacent to the project you just took a look at. It's near the corner of Rosecrans and Crenshaw, near the Manita Garden section of the city. It's in the light industrial zone. It's consistent with the general plan and the land use element of the general plan. As the land use element of the city states, the city shall expand current efforts to attract and enhance commercial development. This project is an effort to attract and enhance additional business and does not introduce an incompatible land use. The proposal is an expansion of services provided by an existing business. The proposed sales will enhance the restaurant's menu and potentially boost business, which helps stimulate the economy. This is consistent with the economic development element of the city's general plan. I would like to point out that there are no other Type 41 licenses in the vicinity according to ABC and the census tract that it's in. Public hearing notice was given in accordance with Chapter 1706. The Planning Department published a public hearing notice in the local newspaper and notified property owners by mail within 300 feet. This project is categorically exempt from CEQA. And with that, I would like to recommend approval of the project, and I'm here for any questions. This concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Does the Planning Commission have any questions for staff? This is a time for questions of staff by the Planning Commissioners. Nothing? Nothing? Is the applicant present and do they wish to speak?
The applicant is present, but if you don't have questions, he doesn't wish to speak.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the commission on this issue? Okay, seeing no one. Mr. McLean, are there any documents to place into the administrative record, such as late communications?
No.
Do any of my fellow commissioners have any final comments on this item or questions from staff?
I just had a question for the applicant. Just wanted to know how long they've been in operation for.
Good evening. My name is Godson Uduhiri. We've been in operation now for 7 years.
Yeah, that's all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I now formally close the public hearing on these items. Call on my fellow commissioners for a vote on Resolution 2022-05, approving conditional use permit application 2022 CU06. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Will the secretary please call for the vote?
Commissioner Caraveo,
Yes.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Alshanable,
Yes.
Chairperson Smith.
Yes.
This is approved 4-0.
Thank you. Next item is the Downtown Hawthorne Specific Plan Amendment, DHSP-2022. Now is the time and place to open the public hearing to consider the proposed amendment to the Downtown Specific Plan. Senior Planner Maria Maharik will present the staff report.
Good evening, Commissioners. I do want to say that the applicant does have their own PowerPoint presentation when it is time for them to speak, and just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Okay? But I am presenting the Downtown Hawthorne Specific Plan Amendment, which is a request to allow car washes within the CM Mixed Commercial Zoning designation of the Downtown Hawthorne Specific Plan. The Downtown Hawthorne Specific Plan runs from the 105 freeway, as you can see from this map, all the way down to the Rosecrans Avenue area, which is down further south, as you can see, just a little bit past, because we do have some properties that are within the city of Hawthorne, and the rest are Lawndale. The area does not include the RFK, the former RFK hospital site. That is not within the designated Downtown Hawthorne Specific Plan. The general plan map identifies the Downtown Hawthorne Specific Plan as a guiding document which establishes the blueprint for how the city center will be developed in the future. And that was the purpose for establishing this specific plan. In this area, the amendment would affect 2 or 3 large chunks of the boulevard, as you can see from this illustration. And it's all along Hawthorne Boulevard, and it's the area designated as mixed use or CM mixed commercial. Currently, our zoning map only has the mall designated as CM. We are working on changing the rest of that area, but here you can see the illustration that the area is identified by our current zoning map as C3. But because the zoning is not in conformance with the downtown Hawthorne specific plan, the city must abide by the downtown Hawthorne specific plan goals and objectives. And it is our guiding document for any future development. The areas, if you can see from this particular map, staff did provide some analysis in the staff report, and this particular document is the community's vision. There was a lot of work that went into preparing this document several years ago. And the vision of the community was to stimulate Hawthorne Boulevard as the city's economic, civic, and cultural downtown center with a mix of retail and office uses, hotels, dining area. And as you can see from this particular map, further north along this stretch and west, I should say east of it, is the area designated as the hotel hub. And the CM, or mixed commercial area, is all in that area, which is the area where the amendment is being asked to be approved. As you can see from this aerial view, although this application is not for the actual car wash, I did want to illustrate where the applicant is proposing the car wash, which is the former Hometown Buffet. And I did want to illustrate it in the aerial view because Hawthorne Boulevard in this stretch of areas, it's kind of unusual. There's only an entry point because there's this street medium that blocks most of Hawthorne Boulevard in front of this area from the rest of it. So there's only one entry point and an exit point, and you can see it illustrated here. And also the former Hometown Buffet. There's various commercial uses to the north and the south of them. West of them, which is Hawthorne Way, is the other entry or exit point for these businesses. There are residential uses along this area as well. Also, the Islamic Center and the Islamic School is located behind here, and the Math and Science Academy, which is further south. It's right outside of this aerial view. There are staff reviewed everything, and we have pros and cons for this proposal. On the one hand, the car wash at the former Hometown Buffet site would eliminate a large vacant site, which is currently in a state of blight somewhat, not completely, but it is, and it is vacant. And it's the site where Kaiser backed out due to the inability for the city and them to come into an agreement. And unfortunately, because of that, the site remains vacant. And so having a use there is a good thing in that sense. On the other hand, this type of use is a transient use, which customers typically drive in, wash their vehicles, leave the area. And the use would not create any synergy along this boulevard and encourage customers to stay. That's one negative of this amendment. The other one is that, which is a big one, it is not consistent with the vision of the Downtown Hawthorne specific plan, and therefore it would not be consistent with the goals and the economic development goals of this area. The other pro would be that the access to the property due to the medium allows only one way in and one way out. So in that sense, having a use that, comes through and out, hopefully quickly, it perhaps would work. The problem is that the queuing of vehicles could create a traffic jam along that little entry point. It's just one entry point, and if you're familiar with that area, there's angled parking. So one entry in, one entry out. If the vehicles are queued and they're all along on the outside there, it is going to create a problem also for the other businesses. So it is potentially incompatible with the residential uses located along Hawthorne Way and also the commercial uses along this area. So those are the pros and cons the staff has come up with through our analysis of this area and this proposal. And please be aware that by changing the permitted uses along this stretch, which is a CM area, it can open it up for other car wash uses to come through. And so because of this, staff is recommending that the resolution or the proposal be denied. Allowing car washes to establish within this area would substantially go against the vision and goals of the Downtown Hawthorne specific plan. Therefore, staff does recommend denial to the amendment to allow car washes along this stretch. And with that, I conclude my staff report.
Thank you. Does the planning commissioner have any questions for staff? This is time for questions of staff only.
I mean, I have a question, if I may. Has there been a traffic study, knowing that there's 2 schools within the area and the extra traffic that this is going to cause? Was there a traffic study that was done in this, or?
Not for this application, because this is literally the amendment to the specific plan to allow it.
Not necessarily the project.
And although the application for the car wash isn't before you, if you would approve it in that case, then, there would have to be conditions perhaps, like a conditional use permit or, but there has not been a traffic study of what would occur if car washes were allowed here. We have examples of what has occurred with others in the, not in this area. Mm-hmm. That is one. Cruiser's Car Wash is.
Traffic is always backed up to the point that it blocks traffic, and it's in a residential area.
Right. And that one was allowed by right because car washes were permitted there, and a traffic study was not required for that particular one. A CUP was, I believe.
Yes, it was, because it came to us.
But this is a different location, and it is within the Downtown Hawthorne specific plan, which makes it a completely different scenario for this. So the first step is allow it or not allow it, and go from there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I had a question. Do we allow for car washes within other areas of the specific plan?
No,
Not, okay.
no, not at all.
Does the specific plan go up to Prairie?
Let me go back. It doesn't go all the way to Prairie.
It goes halfway.
Right. Let's see. Yeah, halfway before you get to Prairie.
Halfway to Prairie and halfway to Inglewood.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. On the west and the east.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
May I take a moment just to consult with you for a question quickly? Thank you.
Maria, while that's happening, I have a question also. The road that's right in front, or that separates Hawthorne Boulevard by that small median,
Right here.
yeah, that's single lane, right, of traffic?
Yes,
'Cause
it's
there's
just single lane. It's you go in through the entry point, there's angled parking, and you can't go backwards there. Yeah, it's just one way.
Okay.
Okay. So is the applicant present and do they wish to speak?
They do, they have a PowerPoint presentation. Let me take this off here. PowerPoint. Well, kind of, sort of. There you go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, you have 3 minutes.
All right. Can you all see that okay down there?
Yes.
Yes, all right. Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, Commissioners, staff, thank you for having us this evening, and thank you for allowing us to appear on behalf of our proposal. My name is Robert Baker. I'm a real estate representative with Mr. Car Wash. I specialize in land acquisition for our new build development program. With me today is Amelia Beltran. She's with our engineering group, Kimberly Horn. Just a little background on this project. So the subject property is located at 12136 Hawthorne Boulevard. On June 6th of 2022, we met with Greg McLean, the planning director, and city manager Von Norris to discuss our project and address any questions. From conception, I should note, Mr. Car Wash has known that the previous Hometown Buffet site was located within the C3 commercial zoning. We were not aware, however, that this was located within the downtown specific plan, but we understand that that is being worked on. Just a little background on who we are as a company. Mr. Car Wash was established in 1969, and ever since we have focused on the prosperity of our people. We believe that providing our staff with above-average salaries, growth opportunities from within, and ample benefits provides them the quality of life needed for their families. Furthermore, it should also be noted that Mr. Car Wash is the largest and only publicly traded car wash in North America. If approved, we plan to invest in our operations and the Hawthorne community over the long term. This could be for 15, 20 plus years. On average, Mr. invests around $150,000 per year back into store-level improvements. Many of these improvements are we utilize local contractors to maintain the attractiveness and safety of our stores. From our natural color scheme to our site-specific landscaping, our stores boast attractiveness. Our sites are expertly designed to enhance attractiveness of any community. In addition to the facade, the technology inside of each of our stores allows us to recycle up to 60% of the water we use per wash. This is made possible by our on-site reclamation system. This healthy reuse of water is made possible by Mr.'s proprietary chemistry, which is also environmentally friendly. When we first identified this site along Hawthorne Boulevard, the site was large enough for Mr. Car Wash, and not only large enough, but was what we focus on at the store level for our new build stores at least. We focus on heavily trafficked areas. It was identified that Hawthorne Boulevard carried over 36,000 cars per day. That's almost 240,000 cars annually. This boulevard consists of 8 lanes of traffic, not including that decel lane with the diagonal parking spaces. We believe this site is ideal for our new build site plan because of the ingress-egress points both on the front and the back, which was mentioned as maybe something not so attractive. But this allows us to control the flow of our wash, control the flow of our customers. Not to mention we have 3 people on staff at all times to physically control where cars are moving on and off site. I'm going to turn it over to Amelia Beltran for a moment to talk about our layout. But first I wanted to go over the study that we provided this commission a little earlier on in the year. This is site visits by personal vehicle. This study uses massive mobile data, so when you use Google Maps, Waze, we pinpointed the trade area and found that over 50% of the trips to this site specifically came from outside of the Hawthorne area, and specifically the downtown Hawthorne specific plan that was outlined earlier in the meeting.
If I may, through the chair. So I am employed by the Islamic Center of Hawthorne for the school that is across the street. And while I am sure that I could still be objective, I feel more comfortable recusing myself, citing even perceived conflict of interest. So if I may leave with this, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I wasn't aware of the conflict. Emily, do you want to hop up here?
Good evening. My name is Amelia Beltran. I'm a civil engineer on the project and have been helping Mr. Car Wash in their communications with the city. So as you can see on the screen, Mr. Car Wash does allow and have free vacuums for customers.
I'm sorry, you need to speak into the microphone so we can hear you.
Apologies. Mr. Car Wash does have free vacuums that they allow their customers to use when they use the car wash. And then you can see in the center photo that they incorporate different architectural features to help make it look more aesthetically pleasing. And then, as Robert had mentioned earlier, we have enhanced landscaping to help with any sort of screening and make it a nice place and to allow the trees to provide shade. And then, as you can see in the bottom photos, is the existing hometown buffet that is vacant that we are looking to redevelop. And then this might give you a better idea of what the proposed site may look like. So we have the car wash in the center of the site. On the left side, closer to Hawthorne Way, is where the vacuum stalls would be located. And then on the right side, closer to Hawthorne Boulevard, is where the point of sales would happen and where the cars would stack to pay and then enter into the car wash, and then they can exit out on the south side and vacuum or exit the site as well through Hawthorne Way. And then on the north side, there is a bypass lane or a bailout lane that they have in case someone ends up not wanting to go through the car wash, they're able to exit. And so, as Maria had mentioned earlier, there are 2 points of entry, one from the frontage lane along Hawthorne Boulevard, and then one on Hawthorne Way. And so I know that we have not conducted a traffic study, but that traffic study would be able to tell how many cars would be stacking, and there is further room on site to help alleviate stacking if needed. And then another thing that we wanted to mention is we did add a pedestrian walkway that would connect Hawthorne Boulevard to Hawthorne Way. And let's see. And then I'll hand it back to Robert to continue.
So I know I wasn't aware of the 3-minute time limit, so I don't want to take too much of your time, but if you have a chance after the meeting here today, I just want to invite you to take a look at some of our case studies, areas where we've fit into a mixed-use zoning. In my hometown of Tucson, Arizona, our Keno Parkway location is located across from a mixed-use zoning. The mall, the outdoor mall, office space, everything that you see there in white is currently being developed. Our store has been open for 2 years. It's very successful and has not caused any sort of backup. It also has that neighborhood road that we can exit out onto as well. Ponce de Leon, which is in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, is also another mixed-use area. If you see our blue Mr. marker there, that's exactly where the store is. We're surrounded by multi-tenant buildings, all of which are mixed-use, indoor malls, apartments, etc. This is one of our busiest stores in our fleet, and again, they carry the same amount of cars out on Ponce de Leon, and we still do not cause any sort of traffic backup. And again, that's due to our site plan, our queuing, and as Amelia mentioned earlier, the bailout lane that you see there is purposefully designed to get any kind of, plugs, if you will, any kind of customers that are causing a jam, to our flow out. And we call it the post stack, but after the express pay stations that you see there in the blue is the most important part of our layout. When we can stack at least 5 to 6 cars behind the XPTs, or the express pay stations, we can process up to 150 cars per hour with this model. It was brought up that Cruisers Express on Imperial Highway and Inglewood Avenue has been of some concern due to the traffic backup. We were able to find an aerial where their queuing backs up onto Inglewood Avenue, which is that neighborhood road, four-lane neighborhood road, I might add. And you can see here that they have 2 express pay stations, so that's only 2 lanes that allows customers to come through. That's an issue that we would address almost immediately. Our standard is always three lanes. On some sites we have 4, even 5 lanes. On this site, we could have the potential for making 4 queuing lanes. Our UWC, or our Unlimited Wash Club program, provides a sticker for our customers to come through. The gate lifts automatically, and they have 2 dedicated lanes. However, all 3, or in this case, a potentially 4th, could process walk-in customers or drive-up customers. In addition, they have their bailout lane, that escape lane that you see at the top of the picture where the crosswalk is. They have that dumping out onto the main road, which again poses not only a risk to the flow of their wash, but also causes a lot of this backup you see, because once cars stacking up here onto the main road start to get piled up, that's when the whole tunnel operation comes to a halt if more cars keep queuing up through the vacuum stalls. I will take any questions, and Amelia would be happy to answer any questions for you as well. I will add that this is not the first car wash proposal that you will get, in the coming years. This is a very hot commodity, and as I mentioned, Mr. Car Wash is the best you will get. It is the largest operator, and we pride ourselves on our operations, our process flow optimization for each and every one of our stores. And I can assure you that if you approve this as a potential use, that we will adhere to any traffic studies, any noise studies that you may see fit, and we will comply as needed. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to address the commission on this issue? There is. Would you please step up to the podium? Seeing no one. Mr. McLean, are there any documents to place into the administrative record, such as late communication?
No.
Do any of my fellow commissioners have any final comments on this item or questions from staff?
I had questions. I had questions for the applicant. I want to know, in your study, did you find out the lot's square foot size for cruisers in comparison to your proposed site?
Yes, so Cruisers Express appears to be on less than an acre site. I believe on our C1 sheet, we're at 1 acre exactly. And there is no exact square footage we have on our presentation, but I can certainly find that out for you.
Okay.
And then, what was the other site that you had? So you had one in Tucson, and I believe there's one in, was it Georgia that you had mentioned?
Yes, those were our case studies, but we have over 400 locations in 21 states and 62 MSAs.
Okay. Because I'm looking at, I mean, the two that you provided, and those are, you know, kind of way different cities than Hawthorne. That would probably have, you know, probably a bigger downtown specific plan compared to ours. So I mean, I wouldn't, you know, probably use these as a similar case study, maybe something similar to the actual, you know, city of Hawthorne, maybe similar, you know, population or similar.
If I may, Commissioner, I asked them to provide us examples of car washes that they operate within mixed-use areas or near residential. That's why these were selected.
Okay.
And you are correct, Commissioner. The examples here are nowhere near as dense, you know, in terms of population as the city of Hawthorne. But again, we focused on the traffic. What we're concerned about here is the traffic, is the cars stacking up onto the main road, or in this case, that decel or ancillary road. We believe that these two examples fit best within what we are proposing to do here as well. We, like you, appreciate and respect, you know, the overall vision that you have for the downtown Hawthorne specific plan and its future use. And again, because we've been so successful in these areas, we identified this site as being very attractive to us in terms of our operations.
And I do agree with you that, you know, Hawthorne, you know, does value car washes, like the cruiser location. I know we approved one maybe a year or two ago, not too far from this site on Prairie. I haven't seen any development of that one yet. But
That wasn't the cruisers?
no, it's a
More of a
different
hand wash.
a hand wash.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that was another one along Prairie. That's what I was asking if the Hawthorne specific plan included the Prairie area, because I know there's a lot of automobile uses along that area of the city, and you know I know Hawthorne does allow for car washes within certain zones that are you know more suitable. And then I'm not sure if this would be maybe a question for staff or the applicant, but because this proposal is for the entire specific plan.
No, just the area that's designated for mixed use. So it's from roughly 126th Street up to 118th Street on both sides of the street.
Is there a way to make it just for this particular site instead of the entire, you know, CM zone?
That would be spot zoning.
Yeah.
Almost like a spot zone.
There are problems with doing that, yes. But what we would do is, if this is approved, excuse me, and approved by the city council, we would write an ordinance that would provide a mechanism, and we would certainly require a conditional use permit. That way, each site can be taken into consideration on its merits, and rather than just opening it up to by right. All of the car washes already require CUP, so that would be consistent. But that's how we would protect or control the situation.
Okay.
And I will add that, you know, just from hearing you all speak, that it sounds like there is high demand, you know, for the service in the area, but not enough users in the area. And again, I will mention that we are the best operator. If you were to select an operator for this corridor and allow it, that we would be your pick. And I think the opportunity is, the opportunity that's in front of you today is to allow the one car wash along Hawthorne Boulevard, which would also alleviate, the traffic backup that you're seeing at Cruisers Express and, others.
For clarification, the application is to allow car washes within the specific plan. There would be a requirement for one additional application, which would be the conditional use permit.
Right.
And then the specifics of the site and the design and everything would be taken up.
Understood.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
One quick comment, and then I'd like to go into to commission discussion, but observation, I mean, your building program is great. It does look like a, top-notch type of facility, car washing facility. The big issue that I see that I don't think you're able to resolve is you may have more queuing areas, but you have one choke point, which is your wash bay. So whether you have 5 bays or 5 queuing lanes or 2 queuing lanes, you still have just one point of entry. And so
Into the actual tunnel,
correct,
you're saying,
and
right?
that's what's going to, really limits you in terms of your design. So
It does, and again, on the high end, the model that you see in front of you and the model that we submitted on our C1 sheet is our 130-foot prototype. It can process up to 150 cars per hour. That's a lot of cars per hour, but that, again, is controlled by our staff that's on site. Not only are they controlling the traffic, its movement, they're also controlling the speed of the tunnel. So if they see right away that cars are starting to stack in, and if you can kind of see our 3 queuing lanes there, if cars get to that halfway point, they know to ramp up, the tunnel to process cars more quickly.
got it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I now formally close the public hearing on this item, excuse me, and call on my fellow commissioners for a vote to adopt PC Resolution 2022-09, denying the proposed amendment to the DHSP. Do I have a motion?
I have a couple comments or items of discussion. So one of the first, the primary issue I have is that we're considering an amendment to the Hawthorne specific plan. And as staff mentioned, this was developed over a long period of time, a lot of input, especially from the community. And it was very clear that car washes didn't want to be seen along this specific area of the specific plan. So that's my primary concern with us considering something like this without community input and taking it to the community to see what they think about that. The second issue, which is also a pretty major one, is the potential for traffic jams and cars backing up based on some of the other examples of car washes we have in the city. And also taking into account that there's already a lot of congestion in this area due to the school that is nearby and the Islamic Center that is also nearby. If you go to that area during various times of the day, I mean, it's the road, I think it's Hawthorne Way, it's completely packed with cars parking and people leaving from the Islamic Center and from the school. So the car wash is an ideal, at least the company is an ideal company to have in the city of Hawthorne, but not in this area. So I'm ready. I'll make a motion to deny the application, but if we want to discuss further, we
Okay,
can.
is there a second?
I mean, I definitely agree with Commissioner Ortiz. I mean, it's kind of hard to say that this particular use would meet the goals of the specific plan. I mean, for me, I would, need to see a lot more, information, maybe more case studies, and, how they're planning on mitigating that traffic impacts. I mean, to me, either be maybe a continuance or, agreeing with staff's recommendation of the denial. That's where I'm at right now.
Are you seconding it? The motion?
So I have a motion on the table to deny the application.
And then did you have any comments or did you
I need a
have any
second
discussion?
on the motion. Well, I'll second it then.
Okay.
Okay, will the secretary please call for the vote?
Commissioner Ortiz,
No,
your motion is to deny.
to deny, correct.
So that would be a yes.
A yes. It's a yes then.
Chairperson Smith
Yes.
and Commissioner Caraveo.
Yes.
Okay, so this item is denied 3-0. It is appealable to the city council. Please contact staff if that's the path that you wish to follow.
Okay. Now we'll recess the Planning Commission, call back to order the Airport Zoning Commission. There are no items. The Airport Zoning Commission consent calendar, we have no items. Airport Zoning Commission new continued public hearings, there are no items. And we'll call back to order the Planning Commission concurrently with the Airport Zoning Commission, and there are no items. Non-public hearing items. Urban Farming Place presentation by Cheng Shi, student.
I mentioned to the Planning Commission at a previous meeting that we were contacted by a student who wanted to make a presentation on urban farming. The location that our student has selected is a portion of the Hawthorne Mall, but I want to make it really clear that this is just a student project, and it is not in any way reflective of the city's desires or ambitions for the mall, unless we think it's a great idea. But I just want to put that out there first. This is done without consultation with us, and that's fine. We've had a lot of student projects over the years focus on the mall.
Okay, and what is the length of time that he's allowed to speak?
It's up to you. You want to come up to the podium? How long is your presentation?
About under 20 minutes.
10 to 20 minutes, if that's acceptable.
I'm sorry?
10 to 20 minutes is the presentation, if that's acceptable.
Okay. Please speak into the microphone so we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening. So please allow me to insert the USB to get my PDF ready.
Through the chair, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Oh, me? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was a student graduated from Art Center College of Design. So I just graduated 5 months ago, and this project was from school. And I really want to draw a period of this project because I picked the site. The site I picked is Hawthorne Mall. It belongs to the city. So I want to hear some voice from the government and the city, and I want to ask any opinions. And as you know, that this was a student project, and nothing related to business, nothing related to any commercial purpose. So please feel free to give me some comment, and after I finish it, okay? And thank you very much.
Excuse me, Mr. Palmer, could you
my name
adjust the microphone? I can't hear a word from you.
Hello? Is that good?
No.
Okay, sorry, I need to stand a little bit closer.
goes up, but it doesn't go forward. Yeah.
No, it doesn't go.
All right, good afternoon. So first of all, I appreciate I could have this opportunity to present my project. As I mentioned, a project I have done in school. My name is Cheng Chi. I just graduated from Art Center College of Design this year, studying spatial experience design. This was my degree project that suggested reconnecting abandoned properties to the community. And as we know, during the pandemic, substantial businesses shut down, and a number of commercial buildings became vacant. Besides that, millions of properties became abandoned for years because of many reasons, such as renovation and the repair cost, environmental issues, and the economic bust. Abandoned buildings and lots are a subcategory of the large problem of physical disorder in a community. So the buildings and lots create significant harm to the community, such as attracting criminal activity, reducing neighborhood property values, negative impacts on the environment and public health, and becoming homeless encampments. The vision of my project is that through age and the use of building to seek a way to bring abandoned back to life, so that first, we can reduce land waste to improve our living environment. Second, safe and sanitary neighborhoods. Third, improve neighborhood activity and tie people together. So my project targets the famous abandoned place, Horsens Mall. The reason I picked this place is that when I was doing this project, I want to find a nearby abandoned building so I can physically visit it. And the Horsens Bridge is the name I gave to my project. It's a community-centered project that addresses the major issues in Horsens City's neighborhood, with the goal of repurposing the abandoned Horsens shopping center in a neighborhood-friendly way that will be used as an urban farming center. By reducing the urban wasteland, erasing negative impact from abandoned property, and reconnecting it to the community, Horsens Bridge helps Horsens City locals back to prosperity and activity. This is the location, the Horsens Mall, and its parking structure. The Horsens Shopping Center, it opens in 1977 and it closed in 1999. It's over 20 years already. As I mentioned, abandoned buildings bring significant impacts to the community. The major impacts from this shopping center relate to the crime rate, property, public health, and squatting, directly affecting neighborhood living quality. The zoning map indicates the geographic location of this shopping center and the neighborhood studies. The building is pretty much at the center of the city, and the residential areas around it. So we can see the important role that the building plays in the neighborhood. We also can read that compared to the mass residential area, the purple commercial properties have less proportion, especially only a few restaurants and food markets, as well as green space around the mall. And this is crime rate map. Real estate and the demographics. So the question is how to repurpose this abandoned place in order to reduce negative impacts First of all, we need to hear the neighborhood's voice and see what people say about this city. So I got some screenshot from a website, and people, like residents and visitors, left their comment on it, and I took a few of those. So I categorize those important review points to see what people are satisfied with and unsatisfied with. What people like about the city, such as traffic, friendly neighborhood, education, weather, and diversity, restaurant. But people dislike this city about the safety, food types, and the green spot. Based on research, the best solution for repurposing Howson Mall is to become an urban farming place because it will bring essential benefits to the neighborhood, such as adding criminal rate, rest neighborhood value, solving food desert, creating edible landscapes, educating community, and economic increase. So Howson Bridge is supposed to address the neighborhood concern. It links the green spot and food types and education. Green spot involves like outdoor park, green environment, family activities, and communications. Food types relates farm-to-table restaurant, dining with plants, healthy dining compared to fast food on the street, and also participation of local restaurant and market. Education relates to plant growth and living environment, green city, social responsibility, and a sustainable strategy. Since the Howson Mall is a huge building, my project will only occupy the Broadway and consider the scale. By respecting the history of the building, I will remain parts of the existing concrete structure. However, because of the age of the building, it is necessary to remove the unsafe part and replace it with glass roof to allow the sunlight to come into the place for plants. In addition, installing a glass wall builds a visual connection to visitors. The narrow parking structure is next to it, but it blocks the neighborhood on another side. So to allow people to have a better accessibility to Howson Bridge, cutting out the parking structure opens a walkway for pedestrians. And this is an interior renovation diagram. Still, because of the age of the building, demolishing damaged floor on each level and installing new escalators for service will allow people to visit the place safely and accessibly. The place arrangement diagram presents 5 main uses of repurposing this place. A park, which will be on 3rd level, a farmer market and a farm-to-table restaurant will be on the 2nd, and some study rooms will be at the base level. Farms fill the rest of space, such as vertical farm or hydroponic unit. And my main development of this project is the market and the restaurant. We are located on the 2nd floor. And this project aims to create a sustainable design that welcomes the community back to the historical building. The add-on colors and the materials deliver a humble and calm mood and embrace the Renaissance. Compared to the old cracked concrete, a warm and bright theme makes the place alive to reconnect the community. The material used follows to be familiar to the neighborhood and suitable for the environment, so that reusable and recyclable local materials will be considered. And those materials category refers to calm, and reusable. So humble materials deliver a feeling of neighborhood friendly that isn't costly and luxurious. The project aims at reconnecting to the neighborhood, and the web reflects local people's lifestyle. So getting rid of a high-end feeling and bringing plain and honest to the space is essential. Calm material welcome residents to experience the space since this project involves a farmer's market and a farmer-to-table restaurant that both serve residents' daily lives. Calm refers to peace and relaxation. It captures a moment of enjoying life, leaving stress away from work. So natural texture and soft feeling will be the representation of calm material. And one aspect of this project is to reclaim an abandoned building and reopen it for the community. Hence, reused material need to reflect the design story to bring an eco-friendly vibe to the space. Furthermore, since some industrial construction materials are not sustainable or costly for disposal, reclaiming the industrial materials to use in this project will reduce the impact on the environment. The green pathway brings contrast to the giant parking structure on the side and welcomes people to walk in. In addition, the plants on the sidewalks provide natural energy to everyone who steps on the stairs. You can clearly see the rusty steel structure representing the old industrial element from where you are standing. Once you walk closer, the facade tells this giant dead creature lying on the ground, and the rusty bones appear from a rotten body, yet greens are growing. The existing bridge leads visitors to the second floor, which is the main entrance of this place. Once you walk in from your perspective, the farmer's market is on the right, and the farm-to-table restaurant is on the right. By taking escalator down, all study rooms are down there. And from the floor plan, the market and the restaurant are next to each other, and there is a gap between them that allows you to look down. Besides the market and the restaurant, the rest of this level is for vertical farms. So let's step into the market first. The farmer market delivers a neighborhood-friendly and approachable vibe to local people. All vegetables and fruits are directly harvested from vertical farms to provide the food at a lower cost, but fresher. The green canopy is able to reduce the sunlight from the sky to protect those agricultural products. Red bricks and pallets placed vertically contrast the old concrete features of this abandoned building. The sunlight casts a beautiful shadow on the surface. The warm tone and the reusable material recall the mood of daily neighborhood living. And concrete bricks stacked up uses as plant planters, and some seats to allow people to rest there. And this is a view of hydroponic unit placed behind the market. People can reach and observe the plant growth easily. In addition, it creates an interesting moment that brings conversation between humans and plants. The restaurant is next to it, but let's take the escalator down to the base level first. So you can see that the abandoned escalator covered by massive plants stand on the ground. The high contrast between the old and the new recalls the memory of the historic building. The farm-to-table restaurant is next to the market and continues to deliver a neighborhood-friendly message. Fresh food are one of the elements decorating the entrance and bridging the mood of the market. Once you entered, the front counter faces you. You can slightly see the giant vertical garden behind it, waiting for you to discover this natural environment. The restaurant provides different sizes of tables for different groups of customers, which you can see here. Concrete bricks stacking up as a table for 8, and an open kitchen behind. Industrial-like pendant lights hang on the steel beam with a rusty-like glass frame behind there. natural elements as a contrast representing life futures from death. The open kitchen is not only serves regular healthy food, but also provides a small bar to allow people to have some drinks. The exposed red brick counter base recalls the mood of the marketplace and the fresh food placed on the top. The tables of 4 next to kitchen are blocked by hydroponic unit and provide a more quiet place for customers. The restaurant has a water filter to cover the noise to provide a more comfortable and natural environment. Some tables of 2 are placed behind this wall to provide more private dining experiences. The second level dining area allows you to view the entire space. You will have a nice sitting spot to view some beautiful moments, such as the sunlight projects on the vertical garden. So once you step to the third floor has like open door, like outdoor park. And this is the moment when you stand on the third floor. Apologies, I'm not sure. This message page. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Let's continue. So that is another like point of view. You can see different plants and the rusty roof on the top. So once you and also to provide like clear air and like cooler air, this building should have like ventilation system. And also, I would like to place like openable roof and a solar panel on the roof area, since this building is huge, and I think it has an opportunity to place like many solar panel on the top. And this is a part of the park, so like people can enjoy their time after dining, and they can walk there with their families and friends. And this is another view. So Hudson Bridge welcomes you back again. As I mentioned that like this is a student project, and I understand that there are like many part of the design that not realistic. So I want to hear some ways from the city to see any challenges to if we can bring this design idea into practice. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Cheese also brought some models that are on the table if you would like to stroll over there. They're probably better not to pass around. So.
Yeah, as soon as we adjourn the meeting,
Sure.
Take a look. Okay, move on to administrative items. There are no items.
Before we go on, does anybody want to give feedback to the?
Yeah, I'd love to say a little.
Do what?
I'd like to give feedback to the student or to the presenter. So thank you for the presentation. I know it's not something that's necessary for you to do. So you taking your time and effort to present to us, it's very much appreciated. And it's a great presentation. It's something that I, for one, would love to see in the city of Hawthorne, you know, and I think it's a great idea. You know, obviously there would be some more development that would need to occur. You know, some more synergies that you could combine. You know, to work. But it's projects like that I wish, you know, we could actually see in that site in the Hawthorne Mall. When you first started talking about it, I actually thought that you were going to do the entire site. You know, I could see that entire site almost like our miniature Central Park. You know, with scattered cafes and farm to table restaurants and things like that you suggested throughout the great park. But unfortunately, the city does not own that land. I mean, it's something would be amazing if the city, you know, could purchase that and do something like, you know, what you showed us, or, you know, a combination of a lot of other things that would be more of a benefit to the community. But thank you for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. Are you a Hawthorne resident?
I'm not.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, currently I'm living in San Bernardino with my family. Before that, I used to live in like Pasadena, very close to my school. So, like I said, I picked this place just because I can physically visit here, so I can see the structure and see the dimension, even though I'm not allowed to get into inside. I know that I saw some like pedestrians jump in, jump out, but I know it's not illegal. So yeah, so I'm not a resident, but I'm interested to see this like very huge building, but you know, abandoned. It's very sad. So yeah, so that kind of like encouraged me to do this project.
I actually did my senior project in college on the Hawthorne Mall as well. My design was more like an outdoor mall, similar to like the Grove or the Americana, with, you know, the outdoor shops and like housing and stuff like that. Yeah, so it was great to hear your ideas.
Thank you very much.
Did you have any comment you want to make?
Thank you for your presentation. That was very refreshing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I want to thank you too. Your really good presentation. So go by the mall and do it.
Yeah.
I need a job first.
It'd be great if you could, you know, set up this presentation for the city council. Also, just, you know, if nothing else, just something to, you know, for the city council and the residents to aspire, you know, to something, something much greater than what's there now. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Items to be placed on future agendas. First one will be 2021 CU 10, 11402 Hawthorne Boulevard, CUP for alcohol sales. The second one will be 2022 CU 05 and 2022 DR 05, 3940 and 3944 El Segundo Boulevard, new fast food restaurant with drive-through. Okay, any of the commissioners have a report they want to make?
Just really quickly, I remember one time ago after the fire in the Hawthorne Mall, sorry, I didn't realize it was off. Some time back after the fire that happened in the Hawthorne Mall, I did ask if it was still structurally safe, and I don't know if we got an answer for that. Is it still structurally safe?
I did. Who did I talk to about that? I think it might have been our building official when he was still with us. He said the fire wasn't significant enough. It was a lot of smoke,
But not much damage.
not a lot of heat, so it wouldn't have damaged the concrete
Okay.
because it took place down in the lowest level in the parking structure.
Thank you. And my other issue is the Hawthorne Library had been closed for a while. And today my daughter went to it after school, so I went to pick her up. And I don't know if this is what we agreed on when the hotel was built. There are barely parking spots for the Hawthorne Library. So the ones that I saw did not exceed 6. And then the middle section is labeled public parking, and the ones towards the hotel on the other side are hotel use only. So can you just go back and make sure that this is what we agreed upon? Because I do remember that we said we still need enough parking for the library, and now that it's opened again, I don't want there to be an issue.
Okay, we'll look
Thank
at
you
that.
so much.
Okay, thank you. Now on the agenda says manager reports.
Oh, I had
Is your-
some.
Oh.
So maybe we can look into it because I noticed that when Commissioner Ortiz asked if the occupants were notified, it sounds like only the owners are being notified. Do we know if that's for just because it's a conditional use permit, or is that for like all our noticing is just the owners?
It's all of our noticing, except for, I think there's one thing, maybe I'm thinking of a different city, sorry. No, it's all of our noticing. We had at one point expanded to include a larger radius and also tenants. This was probably around 2012, and it quickly became a very, very huge mailing for every little thing. And so we got actually it was all at the council's direction. They directed us to go back to what we had. But nobody has ever proposed adding residents as well, but it would increase the size of the mailings, the number, and the cost would double practically, if not more.
And then do you guys do we charge based on like the application or the amount of labels?
No, it's based on the
fee-
application. It's averaged out.
Oh, okay.
There is there's a study that we're contemplating now, which will raise the fees to accommodate the actual costs, but I'm reviewing it now because it was done before I got here. But for things like CUPs, it's averaged out. For the more complicated projects, we're starting to get direct reimbursement from the applicants.
Okay.
Yeah, if I may, through the chair, we did discuss it. Remember?
yeah,
we did
we-
discuss it, and we actually decided on what you're saying, and then you came back to us and said that it was very costly. Because I remember Commissioner Ortiz bringing up the same topic.
Yeah. But just quickly on that point, Commissioner, is there like a variant of that maybe, is there a way that we can require, because the notice goes to the owner, that the owner would have to post that in a common area?
It's going to be difficult because the notice goes to the owners, and many of them are local, not to the management companies, because we don't know who the management companies are. They could post it, but that's too many steps. By the time it happens, the hearing will be over. But we could look at the possibility of mailing to residents in a much smaller radius to keep the costs under control.
So that's a really good idea. I mean,
Maybe even just adjoining properties.
Yeah.
Something like that. Well, we can consider that.
I mean, if that happens by word of mouth, they can talk to each other if they're very interested. But at least
And
the
they
ones
do.
that are directly impacted need to know.
Yeah, we noticed that whenever there's a condominium and only one or two of the units get the notice, everybody finds
knows.
out.
Yeah, exactly. Word of mouth.
Apartments are very different, though. Most people,
Yes.
Yeah.
neighbors don't talk to each other.
I talk to my neighbors.
My past experience.
Mr. McLean, do you have any reports?
I do not this week.
Okay. Is there anything further from the commissioners? If not, These meetings will be adjourned at 7:40 p.m. Thank you very much.
And I just want to apologize for being late. I was at the Cal Cities conference in Long Beach and mistimed everything, so I apologize.
No worries. Thank you.
Yeah, no, cool.
Gavel.